Hello anime fans, this is Noah with the Anime Connoisseurs. For those of you caught up with the manga of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you're probably feeling the excitement for the upcoming release of the 9th installment of the series, the Jojolands. In this short video, we'll be taking a quick look at what we know so far, what we can expect, and what we hope to see. There will be spoilers for all parts of JoJo's in this video, and some major spoilers for Part 8, so watch ahead at your own discretion. As of now, there is very little that we know for sure about the Jojolands besides the title. In the last few weeks, we've gotten 2 promotional images of the currently nameless protagonist, which caused quite a stir when they were released. We know next to nothing about this new character, other than the fact that he is one of the descendants of this timeline's version of Joseph Joestar, who was teased in the last chapters at the end of Jojolands. This story will supposedly follow his descendants, which could get interesting if the illegitimate child plotline from Part 4 is rebooted for this canon. According to promotional material from Ultra Jump, the premise is, quote, the story of a boy in the subtropical islands who goes on to become extremely rich. This is a very vague summary which could mean any number of things plot-wise. However, Araki has also made a statement that he wants to draw the next part of JoJo in Northern Europe, specifically the Scottish Highlands, a decidedly untropical location. This could mean that we'll be jet-setting quite a lot in this part, but such vague statements shouldn't be taken too seriously with how Araki tends to flip-flop on things like this. That's pretty much all that we know so far regarding concrete information on the Jojolands. Anything more than that would be speculation, so let's get to that, shall we? Araki seems to have established a pattern with the parts of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, in which a trilogy of parts will revolve around a singular concept or supernatural artifact. For parts 1 through 3, it was the vampires and the stone masks. For parts 4 through 6, it was the stand arrows. And now for parts 7, 8, and most likely 9, it is the saint's corpse and, to a lesser extent, the Lokakaka fruits. I would expect to see either or both of these things return in Part 9, and hopefully have much of their lore and capabilities expanded on. One of the major recurring themes in Parts 7 and 8 is the idea of equivalent exchange. Love Train's primary ability is to bless the user with fortune by directing misfortune elsewhere, and the Lokakaka fruits are able to heal damaged body parts in exchange for withering another. In order for something to flourish, something else must be destroyed. I expect this will be carried over into Part 9, either through the corpse, the fruit, or some new mechanic. I expect the spin will have some relevance as well. Johnny used the spin as his main stand ability, and Josuke's bubbles were revealed to have the power of the spin that granted them the properties of explosiveness and pseudo-non-existence. The Part 9 JoJo's stand powers will most likely be able to tap into the prop of the spin as well, and likely take them to the next level. Speaking of Josuke, I think it's more than likely that he will return in Part 9 as a supporting character. With his powerful new ability of Soft and Wet Go Beyond, I could see him falling into the same role that Jotaro did in Parts 4 and 6, supporting the main cast with his experience and leadership. Unfortunately, this also means that we're probably going to see Josuke die in this part, given Araki's habits with this type of character. Fingers crossed, I guess. The rock humans are a fascinating concept introduced in Part 8, and I could definitely see them making a return in Part 9. It would be interesting to see different rock human cultures around the world outside of Morio, and possibly meet some that are allies with the protagonist. It is implied that the rock humans' Lokakaka organization had a loftier goal than just wealth and power, so we could also get a follow-up on that. However, it is worth noting that Araki has a tendency to not revisit ideas or characters once he feels like he's done with them, regardless of how much potential they have for future plot intrigue. See Hamon or Fugo or the entire canon of Parts 1 through 6, for example. It is more than likely that Part 9 will have few, if any, returning elements from Parts 7 and 8, instead choosing to invent new concepts that will be the focus of the part. The question still remains, what part of the original canon will the Jojolands be in reference to? Steel Ball Run was a reimagining of Phantom Blood, and Jojolands was a reimagining of Diamond is Unbreakable. If the pattern continues, the Jojolands will probably take some plot and setting notes from Golden Wind or Stone Ocean, or possibly both. From the description of the protagonist, the plot, and the setting that we know of, I'd say it's more than likely that this will be an homage to Part 5 and Giorno's character arc. I would be super jazzed about this, since Part 5 is probably my favorite in the series. I would be interested in seeing how the characters that we know, like Bucciarati, Mista, and the rest, would be interpreted in this new canon. There is also the possibility, given Araki's age, that Part 9 will be the last part of the JoJo's manga, and the Jojolands will have that same sense of finality that Part 6 had. It may be significantly more climactic with how it closes out the series in order to go out with a bang. Araki has also expressed an interest in returning to Italy as one of the settings for Part 9. If so, I would love to see another member of the Zappelli family join the cast to support the Joestars. Gyro's relationship with Johnny was one of the most compelling aspects of Part 7, and I would love to see that expanded into the next generation. The Zappelli family was a famous family of executioners in this timeline, so it's not unfeasible to assume that they would have survived into the 21st century. This is a pretty big stretch though, so it may just be wishful thinking. I'm also excited to see who the villain could be in Part 9. If this part takes a note from Stone Ocean, they might have some connection to a previous villain, whether it be Valentine or Toru. The villain's stand ability is also something I'll be looking forward to. Villain stands have always been some of the most iconic and powerful in the franchise, with Valentine's D4C love train and Toru's Wonder of You continuing the trend into the new continuity. The Jojolands villain will likely up the ante considerably with whatever their stand ability ends up being. Maybe not to the level of Made in Heaven, but hopefully sufficiently intimidating. However, I do hope the new villain has more of a presence throughout the story, since Toru's very late introduction was one of my main issues with Part 8. The side characters are something that we can look forward to as well. As I mentioned before, we'll probably be getting a few characters from previous parts rebooted into new roles. I really enjoyed the group dynamics in Parts 5 and 6, so hopefully Araki will bring some of that energy to Part 9. The Jobro will also be important to the enjoyment of the story, as the primary companion to the character. Hopefully, Araki will bring the same writing chops from Part 7 to the story of Part 9. Steel Ball Run's grand plot and complex character drama was without a doubt the best in the series, and it would be great to see some of that come back after the more small-scale writing of Part 8. But really, anything that Araki comes up with will surely be as bizarre and enthralling as ever. The Jojolands starts serialization on February 17th, 2023, and I hope to see many of you all reading along as the story unfolds. Johan here at the Anime Connoisseurs has yet to finish Part 8, but he says that he too is excited and hopes for all the things that I mentioned above. If you, like Johan, still haven't experienced Jojoland, now is the perfect time to read it so it's fresh in your mind once the Jojolands gets underway. Until then, this has been Noah of the Anime Connoisseurs. Good night, everybody.